Hello friends, I'm Tanis, your tour guide, and we're coming to you from the Aquatarium in beautiful Brockville, Ontario. Today we have a fabulous question from one of our aquatarium friends that lives in Perth. Let's have a listen.
Is that a black pirate ship?
Oh, that is a great question. We get it all the time. It's not a pirate ship. Let me explain. The HMS Ontario was completed in 1779. The ship was built on Carleton Island, an island that sits where the St. Lawrence River meets Lake Ontario, just off Kingston. Back in the 1700s, that was the perfect location to build ships for the British Royal Navy, because once they were ready, the ships would set sail to defend the Great Lakes and the St. Lawrence River from invasion. Records show that even though it was the largest and the most powerful vessel on the Great Lakes, at 80 feet long with 22 cannons, HMS Ontario did not actually see any battles. The Ontario did do a lot of patrolling, made several supply trips back and forth between the British forts or communities that were along the shores of Lake Ontario. Now, the storms that blow up through the Great Lakes are legendary. On the evening of October 31st, 1780, one of those storms blew up out of nowhere and sank the HMS Ontario as it was traveling from Fort Niagara to Fort Oswego. There were over 120 people on board, including sailors, families, and prisoners. Following the loss of the Ontario, the British conducted a wide search of the area on land and water, but all that was ever found were some of its sails and some loose items that had drifted ashore. There was no trace of the HMS Ontario for over 200 years. Then, in 2008, it was discovered over 500 feet down on the bottom of Lake Ontario. It took so long to find her because 500 feet is way too deep for divers to dive. Researchers needed to explore the area by remote-controlled underwater vehicle. So when they finally found her, she was sitting upright in the sand, waiting for someone to tell her story. What's interesting is that we can tell you her story, but we can't tell you where she is. That's because the HMS Ontario shipwreck site is now considered a British war grave and should remain undisturbed forever. The designers had our replica of the HMS Ontario built by the one and only Redwood Kings. We have our very own episode of the Redwood Kings that shows how they built the structure off-site, trucked it here, used a crane to lift it up and lower it through the ceiling, and then put it back together around the big sturdy beams that hold up our walls and ceiling. And now the HMS Ontario is one of the most popular exhibits here at the Aquatarium because guests get to play on it. Our friends can climb and explore and get a feel for what it might have been like to sail on one of the greatest warships ever built. See, that was a great question. It's not a pirate ship, it's a British warship. We do have a secret though. I wonder if we should tell them. We do have a pirate ship here at the Aquatarium. It's on our first level. And you know what? It's with an aquarium that's big enough to hold mermaids. That's a story for another time. Thanks for watching our Curiosity Clips. Take care. Thank you so much for that great question. If you have a question for our team at the Aquatarium, you can get in touch with us by sending a note or a video to one of our social media channels. We'll do our very best to answer in one of our upcoming Curiosity Clips. And if you'd like to keep exploring, pop over to the Learning Zone on the Aquatarium's website for lots of fun workshops, great activities, and freebies. You'll love our freebies. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe so you don't miss out on our next Curiosity Clip.